I'm Brandon Boner from On Focus, and today we're interviewing the mayor and talking about his first 100 days in office. Bob McManus, well, thank you for being with me today. Let's talk about, let's just start from the top. I mean, election night, what was the moment that you realized you were mayor? What was going through your mind?
Oh, well, I will tell you, you were there.
Yeah.
You saw it, and it was very interesting to go up there, and the whole day was really up and down, with so much snow and everything else. And when I actually got the news that I had won, it was really overwhelming. So my wife was there. We got to share that moment, and it was very overwhelming and a big sense of pride. Also, a huge sense of responsibility. I was very, very thankful to the people that voted for me and worked hard on my behalf. I also felt a big sense of responsibility to the people that didn't vote for me.
Sure.
To earn their trust and to earn their approval. So it was overwhelming, but it was fun, and we hit the ground running the next day.
Yeah, so that's a good point to kind of jump right in there. When you say hit the ground running the next day, did you start thinking about what policies you want to bring on the forefront, or what things that matter most that you talked about in your campaign, or do you really want to use that opportunity to kind of business as usual, let's learn, let's get in, and then let's listen and move forward that way?
Yeah, I think, that's a great question. What I really wanted to do, and I'm still doing, is learning as much as I can about the different players involved and who they are, the different department heads, which are absolutely brilliant, and get a really keen sense of understanding of where we really are at, and then start moving in some of the things that were important to me. Some of the things we're working on already. And some of the things I still have to, there's a big learning curve, as you know. Mm-hmm. Coming into, you have ideas, and now you have to turn the ideas into reality. And that's the biggest issue that I'm having now, is how can we make it better?
Yeah.
So, I still, I was big into budgets, big into roads, big into communication, which is why I'm excited about doing this town hall, because that was one of the promises that I made to people, is that I'm going to be accessible. So it's been interesting, but there's a lot of work to do yet.
So we'll plug the town hall. I think it's the last Wednesday of this month. Mm-hmm. You have to tell me the times, but he's going to have a town hall at the community center, which is in the old library, correct?
Correct.
We'll put some more information on the screen. The public is invited to come. I think it's a great time to have a Q&A. I mean, we're going to cover a lot of stuff today, but there's going to be a lot more that you're going to probably want to ask based on our time limits, and you're going to be available for quite a period of time that evening. So let's talk about the budget. And I think what people maybe sometimes don't understand, or they fail to remember, is you get elected in April. The 2018 budget went in effect in January.
Right.
And a lot of times when you're doing budget planning, you're actually planning for the whole entire 2018 year. So coming in office in April, the budget already sets majority of the agenda for this year. But now, as you've been in the office for 3 months and you guys are starting to go through the 2019 budget, this is probably your first opportunity to really address some of the things that you want to see changed. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, it's a very fair assumption. Basically, when you come into office, which I think is good, the table is already set for that full year. So you can get in and you can watch things. But the key is to learn as much as you can about each department and what they really need, what they've been holding off on, because some of our departments have been holding off on, let's say a lawnmower for 3 to 4 years. And at some point, you have to
fix the lawnmower.
You have to
or replace it.
Fix the lawnmower, get some more duct tape, or replace it. So, we're to that. But really, you have to take a look at everything and get into some of the areas where maybe there's a little bit of fluff. And get in, and you really got to get control of that budget, because the biggest thing that I was after, being in business and being in banking, is that financial fiscal responsibility. Not that we want to undercut anything, we just can't have all of the fluff. So we will actually, just this morning I was meeting with Steve Barg, the city administrator, to go over that, because we're already in a process of where we want to be. And then there's a whole schedule for when his department heads will come to him with budgets, and then we'll start, looking to cut some things from there. So it's a very interesting process. But the main thing we're going to look to do is tighten up maybe some of the loose ends.
So when you looked at the last 100 days, or almost the last 100 days here, what are some of the things that really kind of stand out as kind of milestones for you, if it be something you learned, or something you were able to react to, or something you were to help get done?
Well, what's interesting is I've learned a lot about, there's this whole adage there that during the campaign I was always bringing up, run like a business, run like a business. And there's an adage there that government is not a business, so you can't run it like that. I really disagree with that. There is no, for a public enterprise, for a city, there's no profit center in snow plowing, but there is efficiencies. And so that's what I'm trying to do is, how do we get those efficiencies there? The other thing, I'll be very candid with you, the road issue that took place on Central, that really took me by surprise. And it was a good wake-up call to me, actually, that, this was originally slated for 2015, got bumped to 2016, and then this year they went in and they didn't send their bid out until the first week of May. Well, by then, everybody that's going to be working on the roads is already working. They're booked for the year.
And we're referring to the Central Avenue project that a lot of people discuss when the DOT came out and only had one bidder that came forward for that Central Avenue project. They ended up postponing the project, and they're going to bring it out for bid here this winter. Have you had any additional discussions with them or are you planning to have a thumb on them over the next 6 months to make sure that letting process takes place a little earlier this year?
We will stay in contact with them. To their credit, they came to a council meeting.
Which they got a lot of.
It was uncomfortable for them, so I applaud them for doing that. And one of the issues, Brandon, I'll be very candid with you, is because I'm a rookie, because I'm new, I started calling up the pipeline just to talk to people. Because in business, if you call up and you say, "Sorry, I can't get to that, I'll get to it next year," you're out of business. And that's just not the way it is. So I started to make a lot of calls to a lot of people. And everybody was just as upset as I was. But at the end of the day, nothing was really done.
Yeah.
So we are going to make sure that, they do get those bids out in December and January. Our great Public Works Director, Dan Connect, he'll be staying on them. That's really his sector to do. I will be making a call just as a follow-up. And, we had John Spiros was involved. One of our senators was involved. Even last week at Farm Tech Days, I got the opportunity and the honor to meet Governor Walker. He and I had a brief 1-minute conversation on it, and he understood. So that was a real big thing, is it's never really done until it's done. So that gets back to the efficiencies in planning.
Yeah, and we had a recent conversation with Dan Connect. He actually gave us a tour of all the road projects taking place in Marshfield. And I think it's important for the citizens to know that we're still putting in over $2 million of our own money, city money, into the roads between the 29th Street project, what's taking place on Central Avenue near Hotel Marshfield. There's a development taking place near the fairgrounds, as well as other projects that are happening in the northwest corner of the city of Marshfield. And we did a video on that. We met with Dan, and if you are a subscriber to our page, you're going to definitely want to look at that. Dan did a great job taking us from job site to job site and telling us the details of what goes into each one of those projects, and more importantly, telling us how some of the efficiencies and why the city is choosing to do some remilling as part of their road construction plan to get the most life out of the roads here, because we are in central Wisconsin, which does see some pretty harsh winters.
Absolutely.
So we're getting into budget time. And as you say, you met with Steve, and Steve's beginning to meet with some of the department heads to talk about their budget. What are some of the things that kind of really stand out that, hey, these are our wants, these are our needs, and this is the stuff we got to take care of every single day? Obviously, not all of those wants and all those needs maybe will get addressed, but there's certain ones that are close to your vest that you want to see get accomplished.
Sure. I campaigned on several different issues, but the big ones for me were police and fire. Police making sure that they've got the right ability to communicate. Chief Gramsey is a great chief, and he's put forth a bid to get this taken care of. So we're really going to get through and see what it is that we can do to make sure that our police officers have the right communication that they need. Fire department staffing, they're looking there. They signed a contract with the clinic, which was good. And that is giving them a heavier call load. So we have to look at to make sure we have the right amount of personnel there, and they're working, both of them. Police Chief Gramza and Scott Owen are working with their police commissions to get things done, so very proud of that. And two other big issues that I went through the campaign are roads, which you were just talking about. And Dan and Tom Turchi are putting together a website. They promised me I'll have it by September 1st, where we can actually see what our actual road condition is. I think people would be interested to know that 80% of our roads are in very good or better shape. The problem is we drive on the other 20% that
Every
are
day.
not.
Yeah.
So you could say, yes, you know, an 80% is what a good B, but we want to get that better. But one of the things I wanted to be able to do was communicate better with the citizens. And this website is going to have what projects are being done in detail, which you've done a great job through this year of making sure that detailed information gets out. And we want to get that out so that citizens can go to this website. They could see what projects are being worked on right now, but also, Brandon, they will see the next 3 years worth of projects so they could see what is going to be done. And a lot of people did not want to do that. I really had to push for that because there's an accountability to that.
Sure, and that's kind of all part of the CIP plan.
The CIP plan. So it's going to be, this is our next 3-year plan pending something big coming up.
Sure, and every April is when that plan for that year gets executed. But
Right.
it's like basically what you're saying is, hey, every year we're going to commit to this part of the plan, but we're going to be forecasting the next 3 years out so you can see what's in the pipeline in a sense.
Right. So we really want to get that taken care of. That is very important that our roads get taken care of. And then, of course, one of the other things is the communication, and which is why I'm doing this town hall, is because many times politicians go out while they're campaigning and they're everybody's best friend. And they go out everywhere and, you know, and do all that, which I did. I've made sure that I've stayed out in the public. I continue to go to the senior center. I continue to go to as many things as I possibly can, and I'm encouraging the aldermen to do the same.
Sure.
So that we're out there. And this town hall is one of the things that I don't think we've done it here in a long time. I want the citizens to be able to come and voice their concerns. Say, you're doing a good job here, this isn't good, what are we going to do to fix this? I believe that we need to have good collaboration between city officials and the public. So that's a very big part of what I campaigned on, and those things are coming to fruition.
Is it an opportunity for citizens to still come and discuss things that might be considered in this 2019 budget?
Absolutely. The citizens will be able to come. I'm going to give a little report on what I've done for the first 100 days. I've mentioned a few things here, but there's been a few other things and what I've seen. So I'm going to give a little report there that might take 10 to 12 minutes. And then the rest of it is going to be listening to taxpayers. They're coming and asking their questions, their concerns, so they can ask whatever question they want. And if I'm not, I promise them that I'm not going to just give them a bland explanation. If I don't know the answer, we're going to have people there that are going to take down their name, phone number, email, and I'll get the answer and get back to them. It's very, very important that that communication be strong.
So those that want to get involved in the community, if you want to talk about how tax dollars are being spent, learn more about the roads, Bob McManus is going to be holding a town hall on Tuesday, July 31st. The doors open at 5:30 at the 2nd Street Community Center. You're going to want to get out and learn and give an opportunity to tell your voice. Bob, what do you say to those citizens that from time to time say they don't have a voice? Is this the opportunity to make a stage and get out and ask the questions?
This is absolutely the time to come on out, ask the questions. You will be heard. We're going to give you some answers. And also, if you can't make it, call me at the mayor's office. You can leave, if I'm not there, you can leave a message for me. We want your voice to be heard. It's very important. But I sure hope that you can make it to the town hall.
Sounds good. And also to join your public access MCTV. They will be filming the event. Hopefully they'll be able to live stream it as well if you're not able to make it. But we invite you to come. It is July 31st, Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30. You know, Marshfield is obviously talk about being in business, talking about running a government as you do a business to make it efficient and responsible. One thing that I've noticed in the last I would say 60, 90 days is the number of ribbon cuttings that we've been having here in Marshfield, from businesses remodeling to grand openings to even ribbon cuttings that are amenities for the citizens of Marshfield. You've been at many, if not almost all of them from my recollection. Is there any of them that really kind of stand out, or anything that you've noticed that's kind of been a blanket that you've noticed amongst all the ribbon cuttings, or why there's been kind of an uptick in ribbon cuttings this year?
Well, you know, the economy is good, and many of the Marshfield businesses are they're optimistic, and so there's a lot of businesses opening, which is a very good sign for our local economy. You know, Mojo's opened, Hewitt's Meats out there, tremendous what they've done, and a lot of different other businesses have opened. And of course, last week we just had the Wenzel Family Plaza open, which was tremendous. You know, what's interesting about that plaza is they were hoping to get between 200 to 250 people to show up, and which at that point that would have been considered a success. I'm telling you, Brandon, there was probably 400 to 500 people there. We went out of the food within an hour, which is a great thing to have. I had to leave there after the ribbon cutting to go to another engagement, and I came back by about 8:45. There were still probably 300 people there listening to the music. A lot of kids still running around in the water feature. And since that day that it opened, I've been going by, because it's kind of like when you get something new. Remember when you're a kid, you got something new, you want to play around with it all the time. And so I go by, and there's always a dozen, 2 dozen kids in there playing. So there's a lot of optimism in Marshfield right now. And so I think with all these ribbon cuttings, I think it's a testament to the optimism, and it's a testament to the belief that so many people have here in Marshfield.
Yeah, and I'll even plug the ribbon cutting in the Wenzel Family Plaza a little bit too. You know, it's obviously when you bring a number of organizations together, and there was a mutual agreement of understanding that was assigned amongst 3 organizations. And when you bring in a handful of organizations to the table to help plan events, run a park, and to help stimulate the amenities that that park has here in Marshfield, you have to wonder, can everyone coexist? And I was actually quite proud to see that our parks staff, as well as Mark Davis, the new coordinator, were out there this morning. They were walking the grounds, they were looking things over, and you almost have to imagine when you see the people working together that something like that has a lot more opportunity than if it's just one person or one horse pulling the wagon per se. So you got this town hall. It's coming up. We plugged it a lot. You guys are going to want to attend to it. I believe there will be an opportunity that it will be filmed, so I'm sure MCTV, the public access station, will be able to provide coverage of that if you are not able to make it, but we definitely invite you to get out and see that. Again, that is at the community center, which is located in the old library, and that's going to be on July 31st. There's the outline, the plan for that evening. So get out, come down, ask some questions. Bob's going to give you some brief information, a good overview of what's happened the last 100 days. But he's really going to give you the opportunity to, as a citizen of Marshfield, someone that cares about what's happening in our near future, if it be roads, if it be where our tax dollars are being spent, or if it just be things that you think are important to our growth as a community, get out, ask them those questions. There's never a bad question as long as you feel it has an opportunity for our citizens. Before we go, Bob, is there anything else you want to discuss today that might deal with your first 100 days, or things that you want to see from the community yet in 2018?
You know what's been very interesting is my excitement day by day is really I hit the ground running, and I have to tell you, it's been a lot of fun. There's challenges. There's always challenges in everything, but you know, every challenge just, you know, is a preface to a great solution. And so I think we're there. So I'm very excited about being mayor for the city. I think Marshfield is a great city, and I really look forward to the future. I'm really looking forward to this town hall.
Sounds good. Bob, thanks for joining me today. I'm Brandon Boner for On Focus, and we'll see you next time.